the bad behavior or the fruit of death that could come out of a person towards us, right? So, and that's critical in the understanding. Most people don't understand what brings forth the works of the flesh.
That's right.
They don't understand what is the cause of it.
Yeah.
The author of Hebrews says, we were all our days in bondage through what? The fear of death. Mm-hmm. Paul described all our fruit was the fruit of death in Romans 7. He even described his sin as covetousness, which in his context means to lust after life. Yeah. That was the fruit of death. Right. Him believing I'm separated from life. And we know when before Christ came, he was separated from life. Sure. Death was reigning over people. Right? And so God is able to see that death has taken human beings captive. In fact, he's able to see that because human beings weren't really created for death, that should they not see that he's going to conquer their death, their heart is going to be filled with fear, their soul's going to be subverted, and they're going to start trying to preserve their own life in a number of different ways. Now, a person who's dying, if they don't know they have another guy who's preserved their life, they're going to fight to preserve their own life. And the moment they enlist their own ability to preserve their life is the moment all the works of the flesh come out. Sure. And so God sees a person who doesn't see what he's done to conquer death, or has rejected what he's done to conquer death, and he sees them living in the fear of death. And so he sees them fighting to make a name for themselves, not seeing or hearing yet or accepting that he's made a name for them. He sees a person who's fighting to preserve their own lives or fighting to bring their own soul's peace, not knowing what he's done to bring them peace, not hearing yet or not accepting it that it's the truth. And he sees that what they're doing is with the intent to try to satisfy their own souls. Sure. Is there anybody that thinks a person's soul can be filled with contentment or satisfaction or fatness apart from Christ? No. So that means their soul is full of what? Lack, subversion, emptiness, dissatisfaction, discontentment. That means they're filled with all discontentment. I don't know if we realize it, but when a person's soul is filled with all discontentment, they were never created to feel that in their soul, so they're going to fight, kick, and claw to satisfy that discontentment. Sure. By their own ability. Sure. So God sees that the reason what's coming out of them is them trying to bring peace to their own soul. And so he's able to look past what they're doing and see that they're suffering. And to see that the fruit that's coming out of them is because they haven't seen that he's the healer of what causes their suffering. Or they've rejected it. And so he doesn't impute their works of the flesh to them because he doesn't see it as being with malicious intent. He sees the intent way down at the bottom is just to bring satisfaction to their own soul. Right. He sees that's the actual intent. But because the thing they're looking to bring satisfaction can't bring satisfaction, but can only produce more death, he sees that's what's coming out of it. Mm-hmm. Like the Jewish guys. This is hard for people to hear maybe, but the Jewish guys didn't say, that's God, let's kill him. That's not what they said. Yeah. They actually thought, this guy is a heretic. Mm-hmm. They actually thought they were doing the good thing. They didn't think they were doing a bad thing. Right. They thought they were doing the good thing. The Jewish mind doesn't understand what it means to have one God, the Lord your God. They don't understand that the Father's word can be manifested in a bush or in the flesh or wherever. They don't understand the Holy Spirit. So Jesus comes talking about himself. He's one with the Father. So they don't even stop to consider what the guy's saying. They think this guy's saying there's more than one God. We're going to take him out. Sure. Not only that, they were living in bondage through the fear of death. The Jewish people, because they were carnal, sold, and I don't mean all Jewish people, we're talking about the Pharisaical system. They were carnal, sold under sin. So they thought the accolades and the degrees and the money and the accomplishments And the renown they got through Judaism was the evidence they had life.
Right.
So their idol was this system. And they looked at that system as the thing that justified them. They were grasping onto that thing for dear life. Now Jesus comes along and starts kicking over that system. Now, we know he's doing it because it's the truth and that system's really killing them.
Sure.
So we know he's doing it in love. And we know that system they think is giving them life is not the way unto life, it's actually the way unto death.
Yeah.
There's a way that seems right unto the man, and it's the way unto death, it says. So they thought this was the way unto life. They were grasping onto it. They said, look at the money we have. Look at the accolades and the reputation we have from this system. This system is what is giving us life. Jesus comes and makes nothing of that system. Now, what do you think that spoke to their hearts?
Ooh, fear.
Fear of losing their life.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Now, as crooked and perverted as it was, we're not disputing that their thought process wasn't crooked and perverted. We're not disputing that what came out of them was crooked and perverted. What we're saying is, what is it that was going on in their soul at the thought of this? Right? Peter even said, whom had you known that he was the Lord of glory, you wouldn't have crucified.
That's right.
Yeah.
He said that.
Right.
Yep.
Right? Now, this isn't to say that, how do I want to use this language? Because we use these terminologies in a lot of different ways. This isn't to say that they weren't guilty of having committed the sin of